Caribbean waters stir with warships and whispers of strikes. Maduro courts Trump, letters in hand, while US forces hunt narco-terrorists. Congress clashes, senators question the unseen dead. Russia and China watch as Venezuela braces. Can diplomacy hold the storm? Or will the drums of war finally drown reason? In a region bracing for confrontation, Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro is finding himself squeezed by the weight of American power and by the personal politics of President Donald Trump. Over recent weeks, a dramatic United States military buildup in the Caribbean has brought renewed attention to Maduro's faltering rule. Washington's naval presence, the largest in the region in decades, has been accompanied by targeted strikes on alleged Venezuelan drug boats. According to the Trump administration, the operations aim to dismantle narco-terrorist networks linked to Maduro's government. But for Caracas, it signals an existential threat. In response, Maduro has sought to soften his image, attempting an unlikely rapprochement with Trump. In a letter to the US president, he promised to provide compelling data proving that Venezuela is free of drug production, insisting that only 5% of Colombian narcotics transit through his country and that most of those shipments are intercepted by Venezuelan forces. The overtures didn't end there. Maduro's government has resumed accepting deportation flights from the United States, a policy it resisted under former President Joe Biden. According to the monitoring group Ice Flight Monitor, Venezuela has received over 10,000 deportees on 58 flights since February, including 9 since the first strike in September. Even amid the escalating rhetoric, the US has not revoked Chevron's license to continue oil operations in Venezuela, providing a crucial lifeline for the sanctions-stricken nation. Despite these overtures, Washington's stance remains unyielding. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has repeatedly dismissed Maduro's gestures, labeling him an illegitimate president and asserting that
Venezuela's government functions as a cartel flooding the US with cocaine.
Meanwhile, in Caracas, the regime has tried to project strength. Maduro has ordered the activation of militia units and the Venezuelan armed forces to defend key states, including La Guaira and Carabobo.
We will, step by step, fine-tune the military machinery of this powerful national movement, defending our peace, our sovereignty, and our right to the future.
Yet, while promising readiness, Maduro's tone has notably shifted. Gone are the fiery anti-American tirades. His appeal to the Vatican reflects this new posture. Maduro asked Pope Leo to help Venezuela preserve peace and stability, noting his country faces history's greatest power. Back in Washington, Trump's Caribbean campaign has sparked one of the sharpest political clashes of his second term. A bipartisan resolution aimed at halting the lethal strikes on suspected Venezuelan drug smugglers failed narrowly in the Senate on October 8th, exposing deep divisions over the president's use of force. Over the past 2 months, US forces have struck at least 4 boats in the Caribbean, killing 21 people. The administration maintains that the targets were narco-terrorists affiliated with Venezuelan gangs, but lawmakers say evidence has been thin. Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia, one of the resolution's sponsors, criticized the lack of congressional oversight.
These military actions should stop, unless authorized. What we are doing is very simple, very straightforward. Congress be Congress.
Democrats argue that classified briefings have failed to identify who was on the vessels or why lethal force was deemed necessary instead of traditional interdiction. Some Republicans too have raised constitutional concerns. Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, breaking with his party, condemned what he called extrajudicial killings.
Is it too much to ask to know the names of those we kill before we kill them? To know what evidence exists of their guilt? This is madness.
The measure failed 48 to 51, with only 2 Republicans, Paul and Lisa Murkowski, voting in favor. One Democrat, John Fetterman, voted against. Senator Adam Schiff of California expressed frustration over the secrecy surrounding the operation.
I have no idea precisely the identities of who was on these ships, or even whether the administration knows their identities.
Trump's administration insists the campaign is lawful under the president's authority to protect US citizens and allies from terrorist organizations.
This resolution aims to strip President Trump of his constitutional authority to protect Americans by authorizing military strikes against narco-terrorists, the Houthis, and other Iranian proxies. This is dangerous. It puts our children, citizens, soldiers, and allies at risk.
Despite the uproar, Trump has vowed to continue and possibly expand the operations, even hinting at direct strikes on Venezuelan territory. While facing pressure from Washington, Maduro is simultaneously tightening ties with Moscow and Beijing. This week, Venezuelan state media announced a new air route connecting Caracas with Guangzhou via Moscow, a symbolic step underscoring the deepening cooperation among BRICS nations. The twice-monthly service, operated by large-capacity aircraft, reflects Venezuela's push to strengthen trade and political alignment with its most powerful allies. Telesur, a BRICS partner outlet, described the route as one of Venezuela's most significant international links. For Maduro, these global connections offer diplomatic breathing room, but they do little to calm rising tensions at home. On October 8th, Venezuelan Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino announced the launch of Independence 200, a new military exercise designed to prepare the country for potential US aggression.
Se le ha declarado prácticamente la guerra.
A war has practically been declared, practically a war, with actions of economic persecution, from criminal sanctions and coercive unilateral measures, and so on. So, well, the time has come when US imperialism has dared to threaten us militarily, and we are not indifferent to that threat. On the contrary, we are a country that has responded with dignity under the leadership of President Nicolás Maduro.
Y nosotros.
He said the deployment was aimed at maintaining territorial control and reassuring the public amid growing psychological and economic pressure.
Tenemos que ir más a la acción, líderes militares.
We must move more into action. Military leaders, political leaders, more action. Because the phenomenon of war, which we are preventing and avoiding in every way, through international diplomatic actions, through the preparation of the people, through strengthening the operational readiness of the Bolivarian National Armed Force, through everything we are doing, exercises, deployments, and so on.
As the Trump administration doubles down and Caracas braces for confrontation, the standoff shows no sign of easing. Maduro's balancing act between defiance and conciliation has yet to yield results. For now, Venezuela stands on edge, its future hanging between diplomacy and the drums of war.